Father, we thank you, Lord, for this day, this beautiful weather. Lord, we pray that you'll be with us tonight as we go about your business. And we'll pray that you'll be with us as we return home, keep us all safe. Lord, I pray for those that are running for office, and God, that you'll bless them, and that your will will be done in those areas. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
So Anthony, you'll lead us tonight in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll go ahead and convene our meeting. Start with a roll call. Misty Cottle,
Yes.
Jeff Upton, Jan Throgmorton,
Yes.
Marty Lindsberry,
Here.
John Collins, here. Dina McKnight,
Here.
Don Rollins, here. Jimmy Condiff,
Here.
our city attorney and city clerk are both present. I think we have some members that are still in voting mode.
Sorry.
The first item on our agenda is the adoption of the agenda. Do we need to make any changes from how the agenda was mailed?
Just double check spellings of names.
Okay. So in some of the notes,
On the agenda or in the minutes?
I'm sorry, in the minutes.
in the minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. So do we have a motion on the agenda?
I'll second.
Motion to accept it.
We have a motion and a second to accept the agenda as mailed. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. That motion carries. Next is the approval of the meeting minutes. Other than the spelled names. Do we have anything else that needs to be looked at on that?
I make
Do we have
a
a
motion
motion?
we accept those as well. That's what they are.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda meeting minutes from last meeting. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. That motion carries. Next is our public forum. Do we have anyone who would like to address the council tonight? No? Okay, we'll close the public forum and move into our business reports. Up first is Planning Commission. Walter?
Good evening. So, we had a pretty productive month. We had our that was a good deal. October 20th, we had our public open house, and that was a pretty good turnout, I thought. We had quite a few people. Not too many people showed up at the following meeting, so that's always a good indicator that we answered some questions. At that October 27th meeting, we tabled our bylaws. We had 2 new members, so we wanted to give them a chance to read up on those before we adopted new bylaws. And we had a lot split, so that was pretty easy. The rest of that meeting was in a conversation mostly on the proposed roadways, how we might reword or make it more clear that those aren't proposed roads that the city's putting in. It's an if on an if. So maybe some clarification somehow, and we'll look at that. But that'll be up on our November the 10th meeting, which is we are getting back our survey results that went out, and so we'll get those back and the information from that on the 10th coming up here, so Thursday, and go from there. And then some also maybe try to rework some of the more rural areas. So that was those were the main 2 comments that we got, were the more rural areas of town, maybe get some more specificity in what kind of development we're seeing there, and then the proposed roadway. So that was basically the main comments. And then after we do that, we got our public hearing for the proposed master street plan and future land use map on the 17th. So yeah, October and November will be busy. And November will be busy as well. So, any questions?
Any questions for Walter? Walter, thank you. I know you guys are putting in a lot of meetings a month, so I do
Hopefully
appreciate it.
We can find the consensus of the town.
I hope so.
Hopefully.
All right, next is a court report. Tracy's not with us tonight, but she did come in and put her report in front of everyone. Are there any questions concerning the court report? Disbursements are down a little bit this year as compared to last year. Any questions on that? Nope. Okay. Next is a library report, and we have a special guest tonight. Marie will be giving the library report in Blair's absence.
Hi, so I'm mostly just putting out a couple things of note today. So this month we went up in our visits quite a bit. We went up to 3,412. We had 2,822 checkouts. We got 97 new items in, which I think was definitely part of the draw. We've also gone up in a lot of the numbers for some of our programming. So for Magic Passports, we've had an average of 25 people per session this month, which was 2. And then we also had a big turnout for family night during the last month. We've also been lucky enough to collaborate with the Master Gardeners this month, which was a lot of fun. They did an herb class and they're going to be coming back and doing another one with us. We also want to give a big thank you to the Parks team because they took down those fence posts and made sure to get all those little pieces off of the tree. We have a new exhibit. We have Jim Norwood's fossil exhibit is in the library. So if you want to see some massive fossils from West Fork City, please come over to the library, check them out. And then also Shire Post Mint gave us a very large donation. They've been selling a coin called One Chapter and giving us a donation each, I think, quarter. And this time someone apparently on TikTok just blew it out of the water, and so they came and did like a big check ceremony with us. So does anyone have any questions?
How much was the check for?
It was over 3,000. I didn't write down the exact amount.
Oh. Do you know when y'all will do, or if y'all are gonna do the Friends of the Library, the silent auction baskets? Are y'all gonna do those this
Okay,
year?
I want to say it's going to start the Monday after Thanksgiving when people can start dropping them off and also, putting down the bids.
Oh.
But, and it will end, I believe, on December 15th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Blair? I mean, this is our opportunity. So Blair is actually,
Hi, Marie.
I'm sorry.
Good job, Marie.
I'm trying to pick on you, Marie. Get your name right. Marie, we're trying to get Marie in West Fork, trying to get her moved down here. I don't know, are we making any progress with that?
No, unfortunately, that was a little bit too much.
Okay.
I couldn't
So we're trying to
out.
get her in the townhouses. But we are trying to get Blair into Marie into West Fork. I don't know why I can't say your name. But Marie does the cooking at the library. So how often do you do the cooking that you bring people in, do the demonstrations?
So we haven't been doing like a lot of cooking recently. We've been using, Christy's been kind enough to be reserving the community center. So actually we've done like a couple of things over there. So we did pickling over there, and we also made focaccia bread with the Master Gardeners, which is absolutely delicious. So hopefully more delicious things for them to come. We have done some online videos. So during the pandemic, we were trying to do more virtual stuff. Right now, I really want to shift more into doing, in person, but it's a work in progress.
Oh.
So if you guys aren't looking at their Facebook page and looking at the calendar, their calendar is always booked. You guys always have something going on down there.
We definitely try.
Thank you.
All right, Marie.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Chief Nelson.
I got excited today. I didn't see Blair here, and I thought, I finally don't have to speak after the library. And she got a good replacement, so. We had 453 calls for service, 129 citations, 125 warnings, 52 warrants, and 10 arrests this month. I was going to talk about several things, but I'm going to leave that to the fire chief. need some more to talk about. I do believe when we go through budgets, just to make you guys aware, we'll be over on our vehicle budget. We've had some maintenance issues come up, some wrecked cars, so that's just letting you know this year that's probably gonna happen. So do you have any questions for me, or?
How did the Halloween passing out?
I can't really speak on that, that's gonna be the fire chief, I promise him. But I will say that we ran out of candy, we probably have to double up.
Oh,
I
good.
think real busy,
Okay.
real busy this year. So,
Did we get a new officer? Did we fill any of, did we have?
we have hired a Tyler Beck, he's coming to us from the sheriff's office, from the jail. He's a young kid, but I think he'll do good.
He's a good kid.
He's a good kid, hasn't had any trouble, no problem, so. That's where we're at. Anything else?
No? Thank you, Chief. Isaac?
I don't have a whole lot to report. I'm gonna let Nick use up most of my time to explain ARPA and.
I thought you were going to defer to Chief Myers as well.
I can let him speak about some stuff. The only thing really that, you know, early this month, we were still kind of droughting it, so we were still fixing quite a few water leaks, and that seems to have subsided some, so we fixed the big one there at Tony's, where we had to bore a new service into the road. We had a big one in West Fork Acres there on Westwood, so we had a minor sewer backup up on Dogwood. But I've lost an employee to Washington Water Authority, so we are actively looking for one. So we're not getting just a great deal of interest, so.
So you have you and 1.5 other people?
I have 2.5.
Counting yourself? Or
No,
3? You're 3.5?
3.5.
Okay.
Yeah. Sheldon went to Washington Water Authority, so I'm trying to replace him. But I'm gonna let Nick get up here and talk ARPA to you guys and explain what we've applied for and all the stuff, so.
Any questions for Isaac? No? Okay.
Alright, I was gonna quickly give an update on the sewer project too, since it's been a few months, but, before I get into the ARPA, but, we did start working on fixing the manholes October 10th. There's 15 manholes on West Fork side and then 15 more in Fayetteville side, so, so far they got 6 done. They've got 4 ready for us to check and another 5 to do on the West Fork side, and then they'll move over to the Fayetteville side. So they estimated 2 weeks when they got out there, and we're a month in, and I think they're figuring out what we expect, and it needs to be done right. You know, that we won't accept, you know, anything less. So we're working through that. So hopefully month of November will go a little bit better for them. As far as the wastewater plant site, you know, Isaac and his folks did a fantastic job, you know, getting it all filled in and graded out. Grass is growing. I'm planning to next week go out and get pictures and hopefully get a closure plan in, you know, by the end of the month or 1st of December to get that closed out, and then get the consent order closed out as well, so we can say everything's done. We can be out from under that. It's 7 years coming.
Long time coming.
So it'll be a big milestone. So anyways, moving on to ARPA, Rescue Plan Act. As y'all aware, you know, back in, I think, late September, the state released $270 million in water and wastewater funding for everyone to apply for. So we turned in a total of 4 applications for West Fork. You know, one was a sponsorship, I'll get into that, but the 3 main applications we turned in, one was for reimbursement on the big sewer project. We qualified, you know, any expenses after March of 2021, we could claim reimbursement on. So due to the cost share requirements they put in that application, due to the median household income, West Fork qualifies for a 50-50 cost share. So there was about $1.6 million spent on the project since March of 21. So we've asked for half of that, or $800,000, to come back to the city. If that gets awarded, my understanding is it's basically the state hands the city a check, and then the city turns around and hands them back the check to pay down the principal on the loan. So we were hoping that $800,000 could be used to do more work, but they said no, it has to be used to pay down the principal. But it is what it is. It's $800,000 less to pay on several million in loans. Another application we did was reimbursement for sewer replacement projects that Isaac and his folks did in-house. We call in-house projects. The amount we've requested there is about $73,000, and that's the 50%, is $146,000 total. That's all work that's been done post 2020, March 21. And third project was the meter replacement that y'all used your ARPA funds with. That amount we've asked for is about $86,000 to come back. Final project, mentioned that West Fork's sponsoring, or showing as the sponsors for the Homestead subdivision just north of town. We went in to ask to get them connected to West Fork. So with the qualification that, it'll have to be 100% grant. So if they get the half of the grant here, which is a little over $1 million, we'll have to turn around and ask for another $1 million grant through another funding source.
So explain that just a little bit, go into a little bit more detail about what we're doing as a sponsor, and reiterate the fact that West Fork is not paying any money.
Well, since Homestead is a neighborhood, they don't qualify as an eligible entity to submit an application. It has to be, a city. They are governed by an improvement district that was created to build the decentralized system that's out there right now, but they didn't have everything in place to apply. You have to have a SAM.gov unique identity, UEI number, and all this stuff. And West Fork, the mayor was gracious enough to sponsor it with the understanding that West Fork's not putting any money into the project. They would basically be the pass-through of the funds if the project is awarded and funded. So, but if it does move forward, that's 80 more customers that would connect to West Fork. We did size our project originally to handle that, and it does check a lot of the boxes on the scoring criteria to have as far as environmental concerns and water quality. And we just got done, addressing the White River issues there with closing out the plant. So Homestead would be another potential one there if that system continues on the path it's going. So anyways, we're supposed to know after Thanksgiving on the awards. They're supposed to move really quickly on this. So hopefully at the next meeting I'll be able to update y'all on that. But y'all have any questions?
So Homestead is going to connect us?
If
the money comes in?
If the money comes through. Yeah, they're in a pretty tough situation. They either have to put a lot of money into that system that's having some issues. It's been flagged by DEQ,
right.
some tough inspections they've gone through, or they're going to have to connect. And I think it's, and they don't have any money to put up. They're still trying to pay off the debts on the original system.
Are they on Washington Water or Fayetteville or?
They're on Fayetteville's water. Yeah, they buy water directly from Fayetteville.
So we have talked to Fayetteville. If we were to get the sewer, Fayetteville would do the billing and then pass it along to us. So they would do the collection.
My question was how we're going to figure out okay.
Yeah, and we can make it happen. It would definitely be a win-win. It would get them off of a step system, similar to Bethel Heights. Heard enough about that in the news, and gets the city 80 more customers with a brand new sewer system connected to it with minimal I&I as well. So that's
That's not very old. I mean, did they just not do it right, or what?
Well, it was built around 05, 06, so it's about 16, 17 years old. We're finding those step systems. start failing around that time. They have a new company maintaining it, and they've brought it back a little better than what it was, but I think just years and years of not maintaining it, and the individual septic tanks and pump stations weren't put in very well, so those are failing as well, and it's a bad situation. So anyways, well, fingers crossed that the city will get some of this funding. I mean, that's, I think the big thing, why not? It checked almost every box on the list in the application, so. And something else too, I was gonna mention, I know AMRC has emailed the city about it, but I think as an offering to help, instead of giving, not being able to use any reimbursement for direct work, I think they've also offered to refinance the current loans on the project to a lower rate, to lower it, I think, anywhere from 1.25 to 1.5. So that would be something that would reduce your monthly debt service payments, which will help. I mean, it's not going to fix the problem, but any bit will help. So I think after we get through this ARPA stuff and get the CAO closed out, I think they're ready to talk about refinancing too. So.
Any questions for Nick?
Sounds promising.
Yep, we'll be looking forward to some good news.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope I'm bringing good news at the next meeting. So they're supposed to have a decision. They're saying, they're going to lock themselves in a room until right before Thanksgiving and rank everything, and then the commission meeting is supposed to be December 2nd. So we'll see. All right. Thanks, y'all.
We may get a
Thanks,
Christmas
Nick.
present.
Yeah. So,
Chad?
So this month we have our tree planting and Arbor Day celebration. We planted 3 trees back in the disc golf area up by the neighboring houses to replace some stuff we had to take out. 2 of those trees were provided by Arkansas Forestry Commission, and we purchased the other one. Had a good turnout, learned some things about one of our trees that's back in there. Already a large Catawba tree that we thought might be the grand champion of the state. It came in a little shy, but still a big tree, and it was pretty impressive to learn some things about that, wasn't it, Matt?
Yes, it was.
Also with Isaac and his guys' help, we poured some new sidewalk on the back side of Riverside to fix a trouble area that we've had for quite some time. Hopefully tomorrow we're gonna get in there and dress it up a little bit, but the sidewalk has been poured and being used, and it's made a big difference. It's not holding water and mud and everything else all the time. So also, Isaac then helped us, we relocated one of our small pavilions at Carter. Front, we have 4, and we've talked about this before, that we've had intentions to move some of those. Right now, they're all by the parking lot. We've relocated one to the back, to the northwest corner of our trail, and making a more of a picnic, just the area down there on the back trail, going along the trail. It turned out real nice. So, get down there walking, you'll see a new pavilion up. We are going to start our tennis court resurfacing and upgrades possibly next week, depending on the weather, but it will be happening soon. So our tennis courts and pickleball courts will be shut down for a while we make those improvements as well. We've also been assisting on getting a flagpole for this building and a new sign for the marquee for this building to identify this building. Good news is the flagpole's supposed to be tomorrow. If it comes in, we'll work on trying to get that installed very quickly. We're still working on trying to get an approved what we want on the sign, and we're struggling. So I don't know when the sign's going to be up, but the flagpole should be up soon. We wrapped up our flag football program. It got delayed a couple of weeks with some bad weather, but we did wrap that up, and it turned out to be good for everyone. And then also we've just been organizing and start working on our Christmas decorations, and we plan on putting those up in the next couple of weeks as well. We intend to have them up before Thanksgiving. So, yeah, I think that's all I got.
Any questions for Chad? So the truth is, we gotta tell it the truth. Winkler, get your pencil ready, you'll need to quote this. We've got the third largest catalpa tree in the state of Arkansas.
Wow.
We thought it was gonna be number one. We don't have exact measurements for number two, but we're pretty sure we're number three. Yeah.
It's large.
It's a big catalpa tree, so if you haven't walked the disc golf course, definitely walk that and look for that huge, what basket is?
It's by T-pad number 4.
Number 4. The thing is huge, and it was cool to watch. So we had a guy from State Forestry here for the tree planting, and we were showing it to him. And he's like, "Good Lord!" So he went back to his car and got back measuring stuff, and it was pretty cool. We were like, they do it in a point system, and we were 100 points shy, I think, about what it was of the largest, which is down in Bryant. But it was interesting. So I made the decision that we've got the third largest in the state.
And I second it. I agree with you.
Thank you.
That must be true.
That's right.
Not very on Facebook or anything.
Yeah, that's what we need to do.
You gotta get on the internet, so it'll be true.
Now listen, I'll be along with ain't it you?
Well, I gotta take up all these,
I know.
tell you, you know? So,
Everybody else watch parties go to.
so trunk or treat went great. Why they run out of candy, I have no idea. So I think he eat more than he hands out on my trip. They did it flow great. We had a lot of kids. It was really awesome. DWI reenactment, we assisted school with that. Went super. Hopefully we can do it every year. It'd be great. Really, the only thing is our coat drive. We haven't got very many coats in yet. Gonna start getting cold next week, so anybody's got any, please bring them by. We go through quite a few every year, so we need them really bad. But really, that's all I got.
Johnny is quicker than you.
I gave half his report.
So just so you guys know, all of this started in the department head meeting.
Because I get to go before he does, so.
Yeah. So Chief Myers went first and explained it, and John goes, well, I don't have anything to talk about.
That's because I sit on the front row and he sits back there.
That's right.
Well, you made me think, who won the contest?
Who do you think won the contest?
Did you win?
Yes.
What were you? I don't face
You-
it, so.
Oh, you're talking about the,
Piece of
I
toast.
wore what my wife made for me.
Well, I know.
Smart man.
She's fabulous and very creative, so.
No,
I
she
guess I'll
was.
have to get a picture
You'll have
from
to look
her.
at the pictures on Facebook.
He was breakfast.
Participated.
is what
Yeah, he was.
Oh, you were breakfast?
Bacon and eggs.
Oh, nice.
I don't have a picture of it on my phone, I tell you.
I've got one right here.
Anita's got it.
I was curious about that, and I just now,
They're gonna quit letting me participate in things, I guess.
because all you do is win?
Now,
What?
All you do is win?
I would say Sheldon was a pretty good runner-up.
Yeah, but he was quitting.
Yeah.
Couldn't get to him. You know, I've got an avenue for people to get votes by me. Come on, Anita.
So Christie, while Anita's pulling up Facebook, do you know how many employees do we have that participated in the costume?
13 employees participate, and we have
Oh, that's adorable.
So good.
Oh, that's very talented.
She is.
Very talented woman.
there were 370.
Why'd you give her the money?
Wow.
379 votes. I'm anxious to see how that compares to the mayor's race. Probably more people voted for that.
That would be interesting. You could get my report right, Christie.
I could have.
So on the finances, we're showing 247,000 bank balance increase for the year, and 636,000 budgets in the black overall for the year. So all the departments are looking really good for their budgets. Sales tax is at 8.46. I don't remember what it was last month. Because we've kind of been in
It was,
that 7 to
yeah, it
9.
was right around 7 the month prior, 779 or something the month prior, and you said you thought it
So
had
it's
topped out, and I think we've ticked up both months since then.
inching up a little bit. The county's still down a little bit for the year, but overall, we're still up. On the water budget, I'll point out that for the sewer payments versus the treatment that we're paying to Fayetteville and the bond payment, we are in the positive at $4,696 for the year. So a couple more dry months, maybe we'll stay in the positive for the year.
That's good.
We'll take it however we can get it.
Absolutely.
We're almost ready to present the budget to you guys. I think we've gotten really close. It's been a much more painful year process this year than it has been in the past. We've had a lot of expenses have increased, and we've got some significant salary increases for some. So budgets were a little bit harder this year, but we've about got them ready, and I think we'll be able to present a balanced budget to you guys when we meet for the budget meeting. I did email the auditor again last week, sorry. He said his intention was to have 2018 to us this week. I've heard that a couple of times before, so I'm not sure at this point. I don't have it in my hands yet, but he said that it's really close to ready. We have reached out to multiple other auditing companies to get some quotes on what it would cost. We have 2 back. One of them is outrageous. The other one is probably more in line with what we were hoping that it would be. And I had another one emailing today that said they're working on their proposal. So as soon as we get all of those, then we'll bring that information to you guys and see what we need to do moving forward. The costume contest is one thing I want to talk about. I also hope that you guys have had a chance, if you're not on Facebook, you can let me know and I'll try to get you some emails. But we have been sending out employee highlights on Facebook. Hopefully you guys have been able to see some of that. It's been a lot of fun. It's been interesting. I've had people like, I didn't even know that person was an employee here. Employees that have said they didn't realize that was an employee here. So it's been interesting. It's been fun to find out a little bit more about people and what they're, why they want to work here, how long they've been here, just that kind of information. But I think we've got maybe 3 or 4 more to get out on Facebook, but I think for the most part we've had really good participation in that, and that's been fun. I do, after the first of the year, after we get through the beginning of the year tax stuff and all that, I hope to do the city council and highlight you guys to the community and let them know more about you. So just be prepared. It's really not that painful. Although I think I was the one that whined the most about filling out the employee highlight information. I made up the questions and then I was like, this is hard. So, but it's really not.
I think we all need to take a vote and we start with Dina.
And I did, just before I left work today, I did look up the surveys. We had 268 survey participants for the planning commission, so that was really good participation.
Is there any way to see if some of those are more than once voted?
There is a way to see that. I think Juliet's gathering all of that information. She can check what's it called? Some computer, the locations on the computer to see.
IP addresses.
Thank you. IP addresses, to see if they came from the same IP addresses and stuff like that, to know if any of those need to be figured out. The only other thing I have, and I thought I would say this, but he didn't, but that's okay. He's been getting some pricing for us on restriping some parking lots, so we'll have that done hopefully this week, maybe not, but sometime in the next, before the end of the year.
It's supposed to be here tomorrow.
Okay, before the end of the year, we'll have some parking lots restriped, and we are also looking to purchase some new tables for the community center, just some regular maintenance stuff that needs to be done, so I think that's all I have.
So on those tables,
Yes.
I know Mark said he would probably take some. Friends of the Library, I talked to them, they said they would probably want a couple as well. So we're trying with the old tables to, are there other departments in the city that could use them, or something like that, that we can get rid of them to somebody that needs them.
Some of them are in really bad shape. They probably won't be worth saving, but some of them could still be used. But we're trying to find some that are the same brand. Those have lasted for a very long time and have been really good sailing as far as wear and tear. So we're looking for those. A lot of things are just on back order right now, so it's kind of why I haven't got them ordered yet, but we are working on having that done before the end of the year also.
Any questions for Christie? No? So, go ahead. Just a couple things. So, we did the voting on the Halloween costumes. That was a test run for Amanda's skill at putting together the Google form, Google Doc, whatever Google, so that she can count the votes cast for the lights contest. So her plan is to email out the Google document or have it where you can log into whatever, however you do it, and vote straight from there. I think she's going to have some video of the houses that are in the contest. So that was kind of our test run to use it to count all of that.
Can I also say, Heath, real quick, I do want to publicly thank her because she is the one that's put together all of the employee highlights, the forums that are on Facebook. She's done a great job on them. It's been a lot, and she's taken that on and done a really good job. So I just want to make sure everybody realizes that, give her credit for that.
Yes, she's done a great work with it. And I don't know, Marty won't know this because she's not following it. But have you noticed how many employees we have in the city that want to fly a plane?
I didn't put that together.
Yeah, so it was me, it was Christie, Tally, there was somebody else. Logan Grant, yeah, he wanted to do helicopters. I don't know, it just seemed like a weird thing that all of a sudden all these people are saying the same thing. But a lot of pilots in West Warren, it could be.
Alaska was a big bucket list too.
Yes.
A lot of people want to go to Alaska.
Yeah. So anyway, that has been a fantastic, Christie came up with that idea, and it has been really fun to look forward to seeing who's next coming out and, how they answer their questions, but.
Get ready, Dean.
I think we should go alphabetical by last name. I think the newest to the oldest who's been here. I think that's how we should do it. All new people do first.
Both Christie and Walter both mentioned Thursday night we will have the planning commission meeting where we are going over the survey results for that planning commission meeting. We're going over the survey results, all the notes that were taken that night. We've had some of those maps and stuff available at City Hall. Christie and Amanda, I know they stayed till about 7 o'clock the other night to meet some people who couldn't come in during regular hours to view that, so they stayed late and met with them. But that's going to be some interesting information that comes out of that. Did everyone on the council take the survey? I hope. So part of those questions were forward-thinking questions, asking people, what do you see as some of our biggest challenges, biggest opportunities in 5 years and 10 years? What do we need more? And so we have access to some of that where we can see some of those responses. And it's pretty telling. I'm actually kind of surprised from some of the chatter you see on Facebook as compared to some of the answers on the survey. Residential housing is a huge one, and some of the other things that I thought would rank higher were not. So anyway, I think everybody will be, I think we'll learn some stuff from that survey once we get those results and Juliet gets it compiled and summarized so it's easier to read. But we did have, like Christie said, 268 responses. It was a little disappointing that we had 268 responses, but on some of the questions, we only had maybe 268 people took the survey, but maybe only 70 answered this question. And so that was a little disappointing, you know, you see that, and you're like, man, come on, you're in there, give us your thoughts on this question, but it is what it is, and it's still great information, it's gonna be a great help to the planning commission.
I forgot to mention that meeting and then also our public hearing where we're scheduling to be at the community center.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so we'll be at the community center Thursday night, 6:30. We're not serving hamburgers this time, but hopefully we still get a good turnout. We had a great turnout at the last meeting for those of y'all that were there. And I've had a lot of input since then. A lot of people have reached out, so it was good. It was really good. All right, moving into old business. Discuss possible revisions to the maintenance of real property ordinance. So we had mentioned this a couple months ago. Mr. Winkler actually brought this up. At that time, we decided that we might need to revisit this, look at it. Last month, we had some folks show up that had some more information on it. I've talked about it some, but we still, as of yet, we have not made any changes to the ordinance. We've continued to table this. So we did have Attorney Kicklack put something together, proposing some changes, just as something that we can beat up a little bit. Do we like this? Where are we at with it? You got any thoughts on this, Dina? I think, the reason I ask, I think you were one of them that said maybe we should revisit it, so, and you weren't here last meeting, so, did you have anything in particular that, no?
We did ask those two young men if they had some information for us. Have they?
I've sent it to them and I haven't heard back from them, but I did get to where on their website they had links to ordinances that they worked on and used. And of course, the website that they mentioned also, the foundation or the association. So we have that now. And one of them is, who we found is from Arkansas, some native plants to the state, if not this exact area. So I thought that would be helpful as far as native plants. And of course, they sold me on milkweed, I don't know about y'all, but we can figure out how to do milkweed put in the right places.
My question is, if we do change the ordinance, are we going to enforce it? I mean, we can't even get them to do what we got on paper now, so the more, that's not gonna help us. I mean, I think we just beating a dead horse.
The chief has mentioned it's a pretty complaint-driven process. You know, you don't go out looking for people that could be in violation. But when you hear from them, it's good to have good tools.
Well, it says if you could see it from the road, then we have a right, don't we, to tell them they try to clean things up, get rid of things, and do those kinds of things?
Yes, and more specifically, so this was started more from the not mowing of grass and the overseeding with other plants and letting them grow up. And so that's that's really where we've had a resident bring up that they would like to participate in No Mow May and do grow things that would encourage pollinators and that type of thing. So as far as the ordinance as a whole, I don't think we have any issue with. And this really, I feel like some of this came up because we do have someone who is now actively out there doing some code work. So really, in my opinion, if we were going to change anything, it would just be, do we want to take more of an approach that we want to allow for some taller grasses in yards. Those gentlemen that came, and Mr. Winkler sent me an article from the Wildlife Federation. Most of the information in that article was based out of, was it Wisconsin or Minnesota? I don't remember now.
It's a nationwide issue.
It's a nationwide issue, but most of the comments from that were Minnesota or Wisconsin based, where they quoted some ordinances and stuff. And like the gentleman said, there, as far as pollinators were concerned, there was not a lot to be gained by growing grasses taller. And I think in that Wildlife Federation article, it talked about, a 9-inch lawn, as far as lawn grasses. And they were, I think, in agreement. We talked a little bit about, if you wanted to do the pollinating, trying to attract pollinators, you would do it in more of a
Section.
a manicured manner, as opposed to just, throwing flower seeds and not mowing
Right.
anything. So, to me, if we wanted to reword the ordinance, that's where our focus would be, is on that specific section.
Okay.
So whatever input you guys have, please. So is this the current ordinance, Tom? Yeah. But it's kind of vague. It just says, we're required to cut weeds and grass, remove garbage and rubbish, so then it gets into all the other things. And then we specifically mention overgrown vegetation visible from a public street or adjacent property, that maybe the harborage for rats and other vermin.
Exactly.
It's important to have that kind of verbiage in there, harborage and vermin. But that's really all we say. 3.3 mentions dead, decayed, diseased, and hazardous trees, weeds, and other vegetation. We don't have anything carved out that says if you want to do, something for pollinators.
You have a certain size section, or you can do it, but it has to be maintained
Right.
properly.
Ours is currently just, if I think Anita's grass is too tall, I can complain, and, code enforcement's gonna go out and argue with Anita if your grass is too tall. We don't have a specific inch. And, unless we are, coming down and we're telling Anita that, no, you could be harboring vermin in there.
So, during the summer, I let my grass grow a little taller because there's clover all on it. And bees eat clover. So where do you draw the line there?
And the clover doesn't get real tall, does it?
Whereas the grass does, I
The grass
leave the clover
does, yeah.
under.
Right, I understand.
In order to get the clover
In
to
order
head
get
out,
the
you have
clover,
to
you
leave the
can't keep
grass.
the grass mowed down.
Right.
Now, at some point, the clover gets to the point where the flowers wilt and go away. If you mow it again, it'll reflower. But if you keep mowing it, you never get the flower, and you never get the benefit for the fall.
So how tall does the clover grow?
It can get
Depends on what kind of clover it is, honestly. If
White clover,
it's
yes,
red
red
clover,
clover
it gets pretty tall. White clover.
It's big, yeah, I've got a little bit of both.
So should we maybe add a section regarding pollinators and maybe use some expertise from Tosh and the other young man that was with them?
What was his name? I cannot think of it. What was it? Chase?
Because I thought that they were gonna look into maybe getting us some
That's what I
information.
thought.
They had said they would.
They will. I'm sure they will. They maybe they hibernate in the winter, I don't know. This seems to be natural too.
It's interesting. Yeah, it was very interesting when I wanted it. And I want to do a section, for pollinators, because I love the butterflies and the bees and all of that, so.
So do we table it again and wait on a response, or?
Well, nobody's been mowing their grass for a few months.
I would just say we've got more than one person waiting on a response from them. Isaac has also reached out. They were potentially interested in some stumps that we had for some string bank restoration.
I've seen those on fire today.
We didn't get a response back either, so I don't know if they should be our source of expertise.
Well, I'm in agreement with Marty. We need to have something about the pollinators.
Yes, I like that. Maybe I should bring a version to December to consideration for passage knowledge for the pollinators.
There we go. Yeah, good idea.
Or send it out so we can read it before December.
Okay.
So make a motion, we table it until December. Yeah.
Second. December.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to table this issue until the December meeting. All those in favor say yes?
Yes.
Those opposed, no. That motion carries.
Can I
I don't know if you would hate me for mentioning this,
Probably.
but probably.
Not anymore than
I will be first, and I get to add some questions to my survey. Just kidding. Okay, so you said something about that it's complaint driven in terms of our code enforcement. You were saying that y'all are learning about Google Forms. What if there was like on the city website a place where people could submit any concerns through a Google Form there? Instead of calling and complaining? I see your eyebrows. I'm just thinking about, you know, you were saying some things aren't enforced now, and if it is complaint driven, maybe they don't, I don't know, just a way for them to have a voice
You know,
and access, I don't know.
It's not that it's not enforced, because it is enforced. We write tons of letters, tons. We try to work with people. When you say not enforced, we don't issue that many citations, because what we have is, when we get on somebody and we talk to them, we write them the letter,
Sure.
they clean up. The problem is, it's to do over again in 3 months, because they're like, well, I've cleaned up, and it's just a revolving door. And, you know, you get that a lot with renters around here too, is it's different people when you go back, so you're dealing with different individuals. But we are, you can ask Christie, like I said, we write tons of letters and keep track on a lot of this. It's just.
And we do have Aaron who is doing more active enforcement. But to Chief's point, Aaron has mentioned that, you know, he stood there and cried with some old ladies who didn't have the resources to clean up some of it. They were just as tore up about it as he was. And in my opinion, that's the right kind of code enforcement.
There are lots of groups that will come out and do that. And on Facebook, there's a group of young people that have been advertising, you know, call us, we'll haul the leaves, we'll rake, we'll do all these things that you can't do. And we'll take stuff away. So
We've had neighbors in this community actually pay to
right,
come help some of those people
right,
that can't do it themselves.
yeah.
Yeah, and so we do take advantage of some of that. Sometimes it's hard to find somebody that is available. You know, they're obviously volunteering their time, and so while they're wanting, they're active in doing it, you know, trying to look for, sometimes it is hard to get everybody on the same calendar schedule. But yeah, so we do utilize some of that.
And it wasn't really, my comment wasn't like a complaint about how much we enforce. It was more of a way to provide a way for citizens to present any concerns in an accessible manner.
Yeah.
So it wasn't me saying I'm not saying somebody's not doing their job. I was just trying to brainstorm
No, you're
a way
just
to
more ways to communicate.
Yes.
I don't think that's a bad idea.
I don't think anybody's not doing their job. That's not what I meant to imply. It was just more like, what if we give this other avenue for input?
Yeah, I just kind of want to explain how we did it.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely something we can look into, Dan.
And Don, that makes a big difference to understand too, that you're dealing with renters a lot of times.
Right.
That's
You
true.
know, and it changes people, you know, but I understand that now more than, I didn't think about that. But we do have some places that, you know, even from years ago, we asked them to clean up and they never have really done it, so. We will look and see what we can. It's just to come up with things.
That's a good suggestion. So another item of old business, at the last meeting, there was considerable discussion about pumpkin signs.
Which are still there.
And so we decided that for the December meeting, we would also take up the sign ordinance, do a discussion on it. And while the maintenance of real property ordinance was updated in 2018, the sign ordinance, it looks like the last update was 1998. And so there are some considerable revisions that could be done here. I'm not proposing that we go as far as Farmington and put somebody on patrol checking signs, but there are updates that need to be made there. And I don't know if, I don't think we should stop at just pumpkin signs, but probably.
Oh, I showed her a picture that she didn't complain about.
Another sign.
What sign?
Oh, I don't know, I'm pleading the fifth. I'm not throwing any other signs out there.
Okay, so in all seriousness, no, that, let's look over this, for the December meeting, we'll probably table it.
Should Misty bring a rough draft or something?
No need to look over that at all.
Throwing me in the.
There's nothing in there that, here's what would be, but Mayor, it may be useful to just get, if I can, may I ask just maybe 3 or 4 questions about the signs?
Go right ahead.
So what does the city want to look like? We can write sign ordinances that we think will pass constitutional muster. It's very difficult these days. The United States Supreme Court has made that very, very difficult for cities to regulate signs. And basically, to put it in a nutshell, if you have to read the sign to regulate the sign, then that's an illegal sign regulation. In other words, you can't say business signs are like this, and real estate signs shall be like that, political signs shall be like this. You have to regulate signs by size and location. So that's a lot of leeway still, but it's sort of like what we're doing in planning and zoning. It's what's the city want to look like, what's it want to be. If the city does not want to be littered with, lots of signs in yards, then we can regulate how long a sign can be up in a yard and what size it needs to be. If you want to keep signs low, which is really the overwhelming trend in cities that pay attention to the sort of the way things look as you go through a city, you can keep signs low. You can keep signs lit or unlit, spinning or not spinning. Of course, out on the interstate, to whatever extent there are opportunities to regulate billboards, but I think 49 has that, I think, pretty taken care of. But a city in Texas just won a billboard case, so it looks like billboards are still, you're able to sort of identify them by size and location and regulate them. The billboard industry was really hoping to remove all regulation for billboards. So does the city, do we have some things that we just, in this city council, we can think of that people want to do or not do? I can't just say pumpkins, right, because we can't, because you gotta read the sign to know if it's pumpkins.
Well, it's seasonal, so, can we not allow for a seasonal thing like pumpkins? Who's gonna know they're down there if you don't have a sign telling you?
So spruce?
That's my thought. I know, but I'm just saying, if some of the things are seasonal, even like political signs, that's seasonal too.
I haven't had a chance to read through all 15 pages of this, but that's what I was curious if anyone knew or had a chance. As far as removal of those, like how long?
Well, I think it was
are those
72
gonna be allowed to
hours
stay up?
after
Does it
political.
say? Okay.
I think it was like 72 hours or something.
Okay.
According to our ordinance, now whether that's still legal or not, I don't know, but according to our
We can
ordinance.
make signs of a certain size and certain location last only 72 hours.
Again, we have to enforce,
But we couldn't say political signs, we couldn't say pumpkin signs, we would just have to say signs in these kinds of locations of this size. And so, but again, when you do that also, it means people are coming to City Hall to get a sign permit, because you gotta know when the sign went up. So that means we have some new traffic coming, which is fine for temporary signs. And then, but really, how about permanent things like,
So does that mean?
signs for stores and signs for businesses and neighborhoods and things? Does anyone have any preference in that regard as to whether, what kind of signs you want to see as businesses start to grow or neighborhoods and such?
So as a temporary sign, that means every political sign, every pumpkin sign, every size sign by that size has to go to City Hall to say, I'm going to put a sign on this piece of property.
Well, no, I think we could limit it, like if you say you were selling a fruit stand or the pumpkins and it was gonna be, say, 30 days, well, then maybe you would get a permit. But if you were just having, say, a sell that day on pumpkins, you wouldn't necessarily have to have, you know, if it was gonna be like 3 days or less, well, we wouldn't want you to have to come get a permit.
What if it was off-site versus on-site?
Well, I don't know, and that's what I'm saying, like a vehicle, if you've got a parked car out there and you've got a for sale sign out in your yard, whether you've got 5 lawnmowers and you've got a sign that says for sale and you've got 5 lawnmowers, or you've got 3 vehicles out there and you're trying to sell them, if it's, you know, if it's under so many days, I don't know, that's what we're talking about.
And
but-
so would we make distinctions for flashing signs, freestanding signs, illuminated signs, illumination signs, illumination direct and indirect signs, joint identification signs?
I know, that's,
I think there's some work to be done on this.
yeah, because this is like 2020 years old.
Marty mentioned that, how many pages you say it was, Marty?
I think it's 15.
15, so we can probably, 13, 14. There's probably some junk in here that can be cut out.
Yes.
Some illumination? So, yeah, and I think while we're at it, we probably should, because our ordinance specifically does not permit billboards. And not that we want a lot of billboards, but there will be the day that billboards go up out toward 49. I don't know what day that'll be, but I'm surprised nobody's tried to put one out there yet, to be perfectly honest.
Right.
My thought is not that I necessarily, I don't have any need for one, but it might be nice to get out ahead of it. Just to get something,
Yeah, because it could be a
But
vote for a certain,
I think what our attorney
Whatever.
was just saying was that we can't specify what the sign says. We can only
Right.
specify the size, the location, and the determination of time. Therefore, those pumpkin signs were about the same size as our voting signs, vote for John Doe.
right.
So whatever you impose on your pumpkin sign, you're imposing upon all signs that size.
Well, but is a political, wouldn't be the same as a for
I don't think you
sale?
can make that distinction.
What did I just say?
I thought we could. We can.
Misty,
You can't, no.
here's what Clarence Thomas said, to Justice Thomas. If you have to read the sign
Yeah,
to know how it's regulated, that's illegal.
okay.
So there's no distinction between political or for sale. There's no distinction between yard sale and pumpkins and honey. There's no distinction at all.
and there's much bigger fish to fry in here than the pumpkin sign.
Well, but
And we've actually have exemptions for all of those, professional nameplates, building construction, real estate signs, home occupation signs, memorial signs, traffic signs, election campaign signs.
There's a lot to that ordinance.
Yeah, there's banners. I think there's a lot more to this than a pumpkin sign. There's a lot of, I mean, we can do some good with this ordinance by reviewing it.
So is that something we need to have a workshop?
So I think first we need to read through it, everybody needs to look at it, and then let's decide at December meeting how we want to progress with it.
Gotcha.
I mean, we'll have 3 months in on the maintenance of real property, and I'm fine with that. I think that's good work. It's us working toward a goal. And so if we do need to set up workshops, I don't have any reserves about that, but I think we need to everybody get a grasp of how
The
clunky this
novel of
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May I make a suggestion, Mr.
Please.
Mayor? As I'm reading this, a good majority of this is we're not able to do anymore.
You're exactly right.
So I would maybe ask our attorney to strike through everything that we are not allowed to do anymore based upon the new laws, before we look at it as the city council, because there's no point of us saying yes or no to something that we don't have an option to.
Right.
So I agree with that to some extent, and I don't think it's a bad idea. I just think, as a mayor and as a council, sometimes we take some of this stuff for granted, and we don't spend enough time going back and rereading it. all of this is in here, while a lot of it is waste, and the city attorney he would run out of ink probably, but most of this was put in here for a reason. In 1998, I can almost bet you, if we go back and we look at the meeting minutes for that year, there was some sort of citywide scuffle going on about signs, and that's why we came up with an updated sign ordinance. It wasn't because we were acting proactively back then. So, in my opinion, we need to read through it. We need to see what was going on before Attorney Kickback cleans it up for us. And I know that's kind of counterintuitive because a lot of it's just waste anyway, but I think it is important to know what was in here and then start trying to make conclusions. Why were they doing it? What was the fight? Who was it between? And then start looking at it from a different perspective. Do we need any of this? The city attorney has said if you have to read it, you can't enforce it, right? So we are down to sizes, we're down to possibly shapes, illuminations, how close to the street it can be, how close to an intersection, some of those things that matter, right? We've all pulled up somewhere and we couldn't see if there was oncoming traffic because of somebody's signs being stuck out there. So,
And do we need some examples from other cities? Would that help?
that's great. So you can go to almost any city, just like you can in West Fork, and pull up their sign ordinance. It's, it's going to be in their codes.
Johnson is one we just wrote down recently.
Okay.
Johnson.
Okay.
Farmington is another small city that's great. I don't agree with some of their sign ordinance, but they have put some thought into it. And it's fairly updated, I believe. Am I wrong?
No, they definitely had some pressure.
Yeah, I went into business over there. I remember that. Okay, but the attorney's going to put together something for maintenance of real property for next meeting. So let's hold off on him working on signs until after.
Sounds great.
Is that fair to you?
Yeah.
That'll give us all time and chance.
It won't surprise you, I work with Juliet when we do sign ordinances.
And you should, because if you look at this, about half of the pages reference different zoning ordinances. So in the commercial district, you can have signs that do different things than in residential districts. So that's all things that have to be taken into account with that.
So you're saying this is Walter's problem?
I mean, it's environmental issues, it's about aesthetics and use.
Walter's got enough problems.
Well, one more can't hurt.
Walter's
Well,
built
we haven't
roads.
gotten to that part yet, so.
All right, so we tabled maintenance real property. We're gonna, as a group, we're gonna take the next month to read through those 13 pages. And new business, set a date for the council budget workshop. Does November 21st at 6:30 work for you guys?
Yes.
Can we get a motion on that? That way I can hold you accountable.
It's a Monday.
On Monday, the 21st.
You shouldn't have said that last part, hold you accountable. It's a Monday. Wait a minute. Thanksgiving, the Monday of Thanksgiving.
It is the Monday of Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
Are you already cooking that night?
It's the
She'll be
Monday,
here.
it's the Monday of Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
I won't be here. I'll be
Chief,
in
is that a
North
meeting
Carolina.
night?
Yeah, let's do it that
In
day.
North Carolina, visiting Teddy. I won't be here.
Haven't decided yet. if
So we
we're
were
gonna
just trying to get something in before that next council meeting.
It's a fire meeting night.
Yeah, but we probably won't, we don't know that.
Probably won't normally, yeah, okay. All right, that works then.
When?
To work for everybody but Misty?
Yeah, that's all, man. I just didn't know when I need to be here.
She started it.
She always starts.
Jimmy, are you still looking?
Sorry.
Are you still looking if that works for you?
They should be fine.
Okay, and Dina?
It's good.
Okay, so it is everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can go Tuesday.
I'm in North Carolina. No.
Go
we're
Tuesday.
Well, we'll send you the information.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that we got
Yeah.
most of the council members here prior to that next meeting, so I think we'll be good. All right, so everybody put that on your calendars. Do we have any other business?
We have to issue a check to the police department when Miss Westfest is here.
Okay.
So do we want to do that now, or?
Let's do it now.
Okay, we check.
And what time is that?
We wanted to do it before we started.
6:30.
Oh, yeah, I do too. Yay.
Go towards the end. Go to the end.
It's rocking in there. You need to sit it back further. You need to sit back further.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, it's gotta go back and sit. And sit back here to the space. How's that? Is that very good? Okay, now you can. There you go. Sorry.
Once you back over there, we'll get where we're at. Oh, okay. Walk slow.
I don't know where he lived, but he did.
This was an imposter.
He may be back in business. May have been.
I can get this.
We need to get measurements of it. Good measurements.
Yeah.
Please smile. Thank you.
Do what?
What's her name?
Her full name.
What's your name?
There you go.
What was it, Marianne?
Marianne Holm.
Marianne Hall.
Marianne Irene Holm.
Not a girl.
Get it right.
Thank you for coming.
Good night, Mary
Yes, and she is responsible for raising most of our money to donate. That's how she got it.
Good job.
All right. Any other business? Nothing the council needs to bring in? No? What do you think, Marie?
She sure looked it.
She did, didn't she? All right.
Brian's like, welcome to my world.
So mayor's comments. We talked about the planning commission meeting on Thursday night. That's this week, 6:30 at the community center to review those public comments and survey results. The Christmas parade is December 14th at 6:30. That's a Wednesday, again this year. Have we found a Santa Claus yet? Maybe, okay.
If not, we have a suit. You make a great Santa.
I have a suit as well.
We can't be there. Nothing I can't do.
So we will have the Christmas parade. Brian Kickline is working on our float, so everybody make plans to, if you're available, so we can ride that. And I think he's got some assistance from some of the city employees, but if he reaches out, let's try to help him all we can, get that ready.
Are we supposed to wear ugly sweaters?
I think we did last year. Didn't we wear ugly sweaters last year?
Yes, we did.
Or was it just me? No, we all did.
We all had some ugly ones.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'll try.
So I'm excited, Thursday, I've been invited to Lindsay to go speak to all of Lindsay's real estate agents about the great qualities of Westport. So I'm excited about that Thursday morning. They can do a deal where they invite different mayors or representatives from towns to come in and highlight their city. So ours is, we're doing Thursday morning. So I expect that to go well. I'm glad to be able to do it. And
I didn't get it on the agenda, but I did put it on the slide that they're having a parade meeting on November 29th at 6:30, if anybody's interested in helping with the parade for Christmas light contest.
So anybody that can get there for that, be there.
Isn't the water issue coming back up, Fayetteville, next month?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up, John. So it is scheduled November the, we were just talking about it because we were afraid it was the same night as our council meeting.
It's the Tuesday before ours, I believe it's the 6th.
It's the
is their
6th.
meeting, yes.
So, a quick update on that. We don't have any new news on that. Fayetteville paid, we know they contracted their engineering firm, Black and Beach, to go back and redo some of that study. I was at the EMS meeting with all the other mayors a couple weeks ago, and I grabbed Mayor Jordan and told him, like, hey, we're still waiting on some information on this. We would like to have a discussion prior to the planning, or the city council meeting on it. They assured me that they were still waiting on results from Black and Beach, and they'd be reaching out to us. Isaac and Nick and I were just talking prior to the meeting tonight that we need to start putting more pressure on them. I don't know if they're trying to wait until after the elections to do, I don't know, right? But I do know we've reached out to Isaac's counterpart at Fayetteville. I've reached out to the mayor. We're not getting anything. Farmington is in the same boat.
Yes.
I know Ernie and I have talked several times about trying to get meetings with them, and he's getting told the same thing we are. And his contract has expired, so he's having to do a complete new sewer contract with them. And he's having a hard time getting a meeting. So it is on the docket. I do think it's probably going to get tabled. That's my feeling. When I talked to Mayor Jordan, he told me that they were redoing it and that we had plenty of time. Now, we don't deal with Mayor Jordan a lot, so I would like some hard and fast on this, but we don't have anything hard and fast at this point. But we are going to continue to put some pressure on.
I just knew it was coming up.
Yeah, between now and December the 6th, we're going to continue to reach out and try to do something.
I talked to their clerk last week, and she told me that they had not received anything from Black and Beach, which is what they're supposedly waiting on before they reach out to anybody, and she has assured me that they will let us know the minute they get that report back, so. But we'll stay on top of it.
We went at them from about every angle, and like I said, Christy and I almost had a stroke because we thought that their meeting was falling the same night as ours in December to talk about that, so. Good question. Anything else? John?
I make a motion with John.
Second.
Misty seconds.
Motion and second to adjourn. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. That motion carries.
You got a picture? No, we've adjourned. We have adjourned.
Re-adjourning, we're coming back in.
So I did put a drone picture of the old sewer plant in front of all of you, just so you can use it if you have some concepts, some thoughts on what you'd like to see down there.
Holiday Inn.
Holiday Inn.
I'd like to see the Game and Fish Center.
Okay, so, but yeah, just, I thought it was a good picture, it's a good picture shot, gives you an idea of everything there. A couple of things.
Better keep it on.